Good evening. So today we're gonna go through a journey that I think only a handful of you will actually understand. I want to talk about my own personal story of playing Doom Online through Zdaemon from the early to late 2000s, and I'm referring to the period between early 2000 to late 2000, but before 2010. So I first played Doom in the third grade. My teacher, um, her husband gave me a computer, and when they were showing me the computer at home, they showed how the husband said, "Oh, if you want to play, then this computer happens to have Doom in." I said, "Cool." Even though at the time I was horrified by it. I was a little kid. I had never seen anything like Doom, and so I tried to play Doom, and it took me years. It took me years to figure out how to open the door. I was a little kid, I didn't know what I was doing. Nobody else could help me. Nobody else knew anything about Doom. It was just me. So it took a good amount of years for me to figure out how to open doors in Doom because I was a kid, can't blame me for that. And so once I did, I went ahead and played Doom until I beat it, and I beat it several times. In during that point when I was a little kid, I beat Doom 1 so many times that I had the maps memorized, I had all the items memorized, and I had, you know, and at the time I was playing with just the keyboard. So then I figured, then I wanted to learn how to play Doom online, and I tried to do connections on my computer. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just constantly trying to reconnect to other people, and I was doing everything completely wrong. And so I think it was 2004, 2003 when I found the Damon. And I mean, it's spelled Zdaemon. I'm gonna call it Zdaemon though, for convenience. So I downloaded it, and right away, I mean, like 2% of the servers were Doom One servers, and so I said, okay, that's what I have. I don't have Doom Two because you have to buy the Doom Two to actually join the Doom Two servers. I didn't have that. And there were other servers, there were other, I guess, types of games that were Doom or Doom related that I didn't have. So I was confined to like four servers out of like 100 that were there. And so I joined them, and I just I had nothing better to do at that point in my life. So I spent years just playing Doom One at the coming home from school. And obviously, I'll do my work and whatnot, my homework and whatnot. And so I started to hone my skills, and then eventually I evolved from keyboard to using the mouse. And once I was on the mouse, I kept increasing the mouse sensitivity time and time and time, and tried to get used to it because I figured that would give me a higher sensitivity would give me a better reaction time if I can master it. And so I kept playing, and as I kept playing, I kept getting better, and as I kept getting better, I was able to learn even more about the game. So the so those of you who were around that time, the Australian Do One server was the one that I frequented during those years. They had respawn all items. I think items had ultra violence level of amount to them. So a box of rockets will give you 5, not 10. Uh, Eventually you could jump, which helped later on. And then there's wall hacking. I learned about wall hacking, and then I learned about console commands. I remember I was so bored. I typed in CMD list and looked at all the console commands, and I actually found things that helped me, like move bob. So when you run, the guy moves the gun and rocks back and forth. So I was able to figure out to set move bob to 0, so that the gun stands still to help me aim. And then uh what else did I do? Oh, so then I learned about using sound. and what made me, that's what helped me get a lot better at the online game. For example, let's say an opponent spawns. I can hear where. So I had all the spawn points memorized because I had died so many times. I learned all that. So if somebody spawned, I knew where they spawned. If somebody picked up an item, I could hear them pick up the item, and I would know where they are. If somebody opened the door, I would know when they would get past the door and around the corners. I would time if I had the rockets. I knew how to time rockets. That if somebody opened the door, they would run, turn to the hall, go straight down, and then I would know exactly what they would do because they're predictable, and I'd shoot a rocket at the right time. And I would just sit there and watch. The rocket would fly, and they would turn by as expected and get hit by the rocket and die. And so the way it worked is you have to be really good to recover in an online match. Because if you're not, you will get hunted like a mouse and killed. And so what happened was the Australians came in and they started to challenge me. Now, of course, they had superior pings because the servers in Australia, so they had better connections. It was harder for me to go up against them, but I could kill all of them and dominate the public games. It got to the point where they tried to get me banned. The mods would come in and watch me, but I mean, I wasn't hacking. I just had nothing better to do than to play the game all day, every day for years. And then clans got involved. There was a clan called LDF or Lethal Doom Force that I was a part of. I ended up changing personas to other names. I was known for spamming the smiley, or I guess like a laughing face. I would never talk to nobody when I was under other names like Popper. I had used Glum. I had joined a Spanish clan called I forgot what it was called, but I was called Sacrificio under that clan. I think it was CV. And uh so I just was known for terrorizing people in the Doom One servers. People would get scared. I remember I would chase people down while gunning them down with the chainsaw. Because there was a point where I abandoned the rockets because I figured, okay, rockets are obviously too easy, so I'm gonna go straight shotgun, straight chain gun, and that's what I did. And people would get so scared of me in the rooms. And again, like all they had to do was pick up a rocket and they'd probably kill me, but they didn't do it because they fell for the mind games. And because this game is also about mind games. You can mess with people in this game psychologically, and I could do that to the point where people would get so scared they would disconnect from the game while I was trying to chase them, and they would still die. I would still kill them, but it's just the funny how people are just afraid of you and they run from you, and as you're gunning them down, they alt for or they disconnect, and right before they can disconnect, you still kill them. It's just hilarious to me. And so back in those days, the rules were I think it was a half an hour and it was 30 kills, and I was just dominating. There were points where I would get wicked six, where a wicked six is 30 kills with no deaths. That's what I was able to do back in the day. And I was just hated. I was hated in the community. Nobody liked me. People were just so losers, really, when it came down to it. There was a guy named Weber Ryan. He was one of the best players I had ever seen, and he was a keyboard player. And you can tell when somebody's a keyboard player because they turn around very, very slowly. But this guy, like me, he had the maps down memorized. And me and him had like a rivalry. But he ended up joining a clan, and he disappeared, and that was the end of it. And so I would basically hang out in the Doom One room in the Doom One server all day. And when somebody would join, I would hear the notification, and I'd wait. I'd sit there and I'd wait and I'd listen. And once they hit spawn, heard them spawn, gun them down, and then they usually couldn't do anything about it, so they just leave because they got tired of getting killed. Now, let's put the shoe on the other foot. What have happened to me? You have to know how to be quiet in this game. You don't want to pick up items unless it's like a weapon because your opponent will hear you. When you spawn, you need to mess with the opponent, because when you spawn, the opponent expects you to show up at certain spots, I guess just naturally. But if you don't, let's say you spawn, right? Let's say you spawn and you stand still for like 10 seconds. And then you move in the least likely path you think your opponent would take. Your opponent will become confused and they won't know what's going on, and you'll be able to get to a weapon in time to fight back against them, possibly kill them. Now, one of the ways I would trick people in the game is in the maps that had the green acid that takes your health. I'd put on the hazmat suit and I'd stand in the acid in a spot where I'm hard to see, where I'm hard to spot. And now people expect you to get hurt in the acid, because when you're in the acid and you get hurt, you grunt. You go like and so on. And so I would stand in the acid with the hazmat suit on. And again, they're temporary. So I have to constantly keep grabbing the hazmat suit as it spawns when I need to. But I would lay in the green goo, and I would hide, right? And people would walk in and just kind of like stroll by, look around, like, oh, nobody's here, while I'm basically behind them, about to throw a rocket in their back, or just chainsaw them down. And so they'd casually just kind of walk by, like, okay, and they'd go down. In one particular map, I think it was map 5, to get to the rockets, there's a hidden door near a acid barrel. I would wait for them to walk in, casually walk to the secret door, and then I shoot a rocket, and I blow them up with the rocket and with the acid barrel, and I switch to the chain gun and gun them down right there. Hilarious how that works. Another way, on the same map, on the other side, behind the red door, there's a blue orb down in the pit of green acid. There's a hazmat suit there too. I would grab the hazmat suit, stand in the green acid. The people would come in, they drop down, go immediately for the blue orb that's in the corridor, and then once they're in the corridor, I would just drop rockets on them and they die. Or when they drop down, as soon as they go into the corridor, I follow them with a chain gun, and as soon as they go in the corner to wait to go up to get that blue orb with the extra 100 health, just chain gun them, just get them down. Now, two things would happen. They would have a rocket launcher, panic, and shoot a rocket at me and blow themselves up, or I'd gun them down before they get to do anything to stop me. It's just a lot of fun. And then when jumping got introduced into it, I think it's map 4. There's a blue orb that you can only get. It's supposed to only to get once in the game by putting a switch that permanently lifts an elevator up. But there's a spot in front of it that if you time a jump right, and that jump can be hard to time. If you jump right at the right time, you can catch the blue orb as much as you want, as long as you time it right. There's an acid barrel on the way. I think if you blow it up, it helps. And so I could do that map and have twice the amount of health as the opponent, because they're not able to do the same thing. And again, a lot of it has to do with timing. In that same map 4, to get the shotgun, you open the door, you go around you go around the corner, you go up the stairs, you grab the shotgun, and you drop down. So what would I do? I'd be across the hall, standing and waiting. I would hear them open the door, so I would do it right away. It's gonna take them so and so seconds to turn around, grab the shotgun, and drop. So when they open the door, I appear, I shoot a rocket to my estimation. So the rocket's going down the hallway. They go around the corner, they grab the shotgun, they drop down, they get hit by the rocket. Like clockwork. Also, when people open doors, I would stand near a door and wait. When they open the door, I would know exactly when they would be like if they open the door, I would know where they would be in 3 seconds. So I shoot a rocket accordingly, and it would hit them instantly. Like clockwork, like pottery. And so people were very paranoid to fight me, because they knew that I knew the maps and the timings and the sounds and the spawning so well that it would take a really, really good player to really stand a chance. And now here's where it gets better. Nobody plays that server. Hardly anybody. Everybody's playing Doom 2. Everybody's playing Duango 5. Everybody's playing Capture the Flag. Nobody's playing Doom 1. So when all of the like elite professional Doom 2 players come into my, not mine, but well, I did own it. But when people come into my Doom 1 server, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And as good as they are, they get wrecked. And people will get mad at me so much. I took so much hate. I got banned on the forum. I think at some point I got banned in the game. Like people just hated me. People just did not like me in this game. And so that went on for years and years and years. Made a name for myself in that game. It didn't mean anything. Who cares about Doom? About Doom? Now, couple years later, I managed to acquire Doom 2. So I decided to join the Capture the Flag scene. So I downloaded Doom 2, and not downloaded. I acquired Doom 2, and then I got the Capture the Flag pack that was popular at that time, and I learned how to play Capture the Flag, and that's when I learned even more about how to progress in the game, how to evolve in the game, and I learned about grabbing the flag and just running with it. And I became proficient in that to the point where I was able to actually score, touchdowns. The clutch moves where I could stop the other person with the flag. I mean, it was hard because I didn't know the maps at first, but I did learn them. And just I did well, my strategy was just attack aggressively, attack aggressively. Always bite, don't let go, and I was able to become proficient and capture the flag for Doom in the Doom 2 servers. So what happened next? Next, there was a clan called Bro, which was a complete like embarrassment. I mean, we had clans at the time like DP and DY, but they didn't do anything. They kind of just hung around and just kind of like gloated about their rep, even though nobody really cared about them. But then the best clan of all time emerged, and that will be the clan DX. DX is the best Doom clan that ever existed. They had bros like Chaotix, who in my opinion was a brother to me. My favorite Doom online player. He left for TF2. I mean, I had my own TF2 phase afterwards. But I hope that he's doing well. I haven't talked to him in like maybe 15 years. He was like a brother to me at that time. There was Josh Smith, Chainsaw or Chain something. So something by him on an iPod. I don't know about him. And there were others. And so basically their gimmick was they copied the DX from the WWF Attitude Era. And they were hilarious. They trolled the entire community. They were hated probably more than me. But they won their clan fights. They were epic. They were incredible players. I never joined them, but I thought about it and I probably should have. Yeah, I should have joined their clan. In fact, I don't think I joined it, but I think I was like an honorary member. I don't remember. This was like 15 years ago. But when they do when they would be playing Capture the Flag, I would go in, join their team, help them out. Lot of good times were had, lot of laughs were had. But anyways, yeah, that's sort of like what happened with me when it comes to Doom and Zdaemon back in those days. A lot of people have died and just kind of abandoned the game. And a couple of years ago, a lot of the veterans apparently still play, but they play under private servers. Maybe they still do. I don't know. But the servers are now pretty much dead. Nobody really plays anymore. At least publicly. I think that there's still in a private server scene. Maybe they moved to Skulltag or some other Doom app or program. But I miss it. It was it was a very fun time. So just for fun, I did get the game a couple of days ago, and I did join back the the uh, the the servers. The Australian servers are a thing of the past. They're not there no more. There's a couple of American servers and some foreign servers. I think Czech Republic is one of them, but they don't have the same settings as the Australian servers. I don't like that. They don't have spawn items. and the timers are short. I think one of them had like 50 frags. I'm like, nah, this is nonsense, man. So I joined a couple of days ago just to see what it was like. I did my custom settings because I still remember how to do my custom settings. And people joined, and I just destroyed them all one by one by one. Because again, no, the reason why I was able to be good at it wasn't so much that I was really that good as I've been, I guess, kind of implying I was. It's more that nobody plays Doom One, so people don't expect somebody to know the maps like the back of their hands. And that's what would give me the advantage. And I was recognized. I was actually recognized. People actually recognized me, and I was confused because I hadn't played in like what 10 years. And the people who praised me, I'm pretty sure that they're all old players under new alliances. Because a lot of the old players, I think, still play, but they changed their names. Well, since I kept my original name, I think I joined as Top Hat, which is one of the last names that I use. Those people that recognize me. There's also a player called the Varian, who I was really good friends with back in the day. Talk about like 15 years ago. When I left, I gave him my account. I gave him my password. He has access to it. I don't know if he still plays, but he was also like a brother to me. And yeah, so that's my story of when it comes to Doom, playing Zdaemon, making a name for myself, terrorizing the people, being hated, being accused of hacking, being watched, harassed, banned. It was a journey. And as of the past couple of days, I got back into it. It's just that nobody really plays anymore. So it's like I don't really find people to play with. I wish some celebrity or some kind of event would happen where they advertise Z Demon more, but that doesn't seem very likely. Also, shout outs to Cheese, one of the first friends that I made, who was part of the LDF clan, Chaotix, who also was in the LDF clan. I think there was Sol and Diablo. I think he had a hot temper. He ended up quitting the game or something. Now, Bro Carnage, that dude has some issues, dude. That dude hated us with a passion. And then there's AF Domains, who is hated in the community. I think he's one of those trigger happy mods nobody cares about. Raider, nobody cares about. Oh, and in the game, and we've had some nasty trolls, some very nasty trolls in this game, but they got banned, and then ended up doing. They ended up getting back at the community by releasing like hacked updates, and there's a lot of drama in this community back during its prime days. But yeah, that was a time to be alive. You know, it's nothing now like what it was back then. And when it comes to the IRC, they had this. They decided to make the bot like repost like creepy things that were like not appropriate, like whatsoever. That was kind of disturbing, considering that a lot of minors were playing the game, which wasn't even okay to begin with. But that's the history. That's the history of me on Zdaemon. Since I'm back, um, I'll be logging in, waiting, terrorizing the players. All for good laughs. All for good laughs. Anyways, I'm done rambling. Thank you for. I mean, I don't even know if anybody who played Doom is gonna watch this, but it's history, and it's there, and I'll leave it there because the history had to be told. Like Australian players, like Just Before You Die, it was a very good player. But I'll always remember the feud I had with the Australian players. That was hilarious.